Okay, awesome. Hi. Hi. Anybody out there? Do you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Please let me know where you see me. Can you see me live? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Get in the room, get in the room. Holler if you hear me. All right, so great, beautiful, blessed Wednesday, May 27th. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, we're doing some late night things again. Yes, so if you don't know me, I am Tennille, and I guide people through reclaiming their identity and designing a full life after diagnosis. And we got a lot to talk about today. If you are in the room, please let me know where you are tuning in from. I would love to know. I'm a bit nosy. Hello, Oklahoma. Hello, Oklahoma. Please let the summer be calm. Hold on to your butts because all of your weather is nuts. Ooh, she's a poet. She didn't even know it. She's a rapper. All right, thank you. I'm glad you see me. All right, so it's been a day, guys, which is fine, you know. Everything happens in divine order, and we trust that it is not my plan. It is God's plan, for sure. But tonight's episode is going to be particularly personal because my family is grieving a loss, not necessarily a sudden loss, but but a loss nonetheless. Hold on, guys. I need to respond to this message now. Yes, I do. It's okay. Yes. Yes, I am. Yep. What's tomorrow? Thursday. Okay, I can do that. Okay. Sorry about that. Had to respond. So yes, this is going to be a more personal episode than I guess the others have been. Is that possible? Because I'll be telling y'all all the things. Y'all know everything. Hi. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for visiting. So the loss that we just had reminds me that it's my cousin, younger cousin, had cancer and is no longer with us. And there's a long time where there was hiding the illness and not really knowing what was going on. And then it was more aggressive than they thought. And, it took her. So diagnosis is kind of when the class starts. Like when you have all the symptoms going on, you have all the stuff going on, and it's like you're in the wrong school, in a stranger's classroom. You don't know like where you are, whose class it is. You're sitting down in front of a test. It's an essay question only test. You have no idea what these questions are about. You were studying for something completely different. And without the diagnosis, you have no access to the answers. You just making stuff up, pulling stuff out of midair, right? And the diagnosis is the first step. Now, what happens when they misdiagnose you? That's a huge thing that goes on in the chronic illness community because a lot of things overlap. Now, these health conversations are always on the tip of my lips, but like now my whole family is feeling it because earlier diagnosis means earlier care. Proper diagnosis means proper care. And you need to advocate for those things. Those are not things that just come to you because they should. And they should. That's not the point. That they should is not like the only thing. It's valid, but it's not. There's a lot of things that should, but don't should all over you because you need to make it happen. Make sure that if your family member is not advocating for themselves, you are advocating for them. If they don't know what's going on, you find out what's going on. Have people in your corner. Have a what? Community. I will preach community till my very last breath, because community saves lives. Community helps you get past things that you cannot get by on your own and shouldn't have to. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. So, misdiagnosis, or not getting a diagnosis, can really mess up your journey, your chronic illness journey, lupus, MS, fibromyalgia, all of the things, right? I did a broader episode last year about just misdiagnosis in general, but these two I feel like have literally been this year so far. We're almost halfway through the year, and I've been seeing this a lot. Misdiagnosis between MS and lupus, or people reaching out to me and asking like if I know, or like what I know about the two, and like their doctors are trying to decipher what they have. Okay, so lupus and multiple sclerosis sometimes share similar neurological symptoms. So the fatigue, brain fog, numbness, tingling, cognitive changes, vision issues, weakness, all of those things could be either or. It could also be other things. So figuring out what it is and being able to treat them is so important. So important. So, and symptoms overlap to other diagnoses. So sometimes you have multiple diagnoses and you need to have the treatment for both. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. It can affect all the organs, right? MS affects the central nervous system, which is different, right? But symptoms that can be the same. So some lupus patients have neurological episodes or, symptoms that mimic MS, because there are things that are like lupus that's brain specific, neurological lupus. It's confusing. I wish that I didn't even have to explain this, but I do know that somebody might be watching this that is going through these things and that they really would love to help. They really would love to understand what's going on. Okay. So if you've been watching my podcast for any amount of time, like my regular Monday podcast, you'll see that I've had people diagnosed with lupus on the spot and people that took 7, 10, 20 years to get a diagnosis. So the delay is not just because people don't believe you, which is a lot of the time that's what it is too, because there's no visible symptoms. And even when you're testing positive for ANAs and whatever, sometimes they'll still tell you that's not what it is, because what House said in his TV show for so many years, it's never lupus. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's lupus and, right? So the symptoms are dismissed a lot of times initially because I feel like this. There's no evidence for it, or like it can be explained away with something else. It's just like a miracle. Lupus is a terrible, horrible, dramatic miracle. Yeah. That like it might be that, but it could also just be your imagination. It could be that, or it could be it was really hot, you have a heat rash. It could be that, or it could be, and so on and so on, right? And women specifically women of color, specifically, our kind is not super welcomed in doctor's offices, and we're not paid attention to when we're complaining about pain, because we can withstand so much pain. If a doctor's looking at a woman who like went through childbirth and survived, survived, to come to them and be like, I've had a migraine for 2 weeks, is like, you'll be fine, girl. Like, go drink some water. You're good, right? Or I have joint pain that you can't see. Like, I understand why it just sounds crazy to some people that like lupus or MS or any of these invisible diseases would really be bothering you. But it takes a longer time for us to get used to things a lot of the time, because they just don't believe it, or they can explain it away, et cetera, et cetera. So early intervention is what we're looking for. Earlier, the better. Early intervention is you show up to the test, you got your number 2 pencil sharpened, you have your study guides that you went over, and you're ready, prepared, you feel good, strapped in. Like, you're nervous, it's still a test, it's still, it's still not the best, it's 20% of your grade or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is scary, but you're more prepared. Okay, so having the diagnosis is half the battle. Okay, now for me, it took 8 months to get diagnosed, and that 8 months was terrifying. All of us, we genuinely didn't know if I would survive, because I could not eat. I couldn't keep any food down. I couldn't keep water down. I was eating Pedialyte popsicles because those would stay down. I lost a dramatic amount of weight. I was just sleeping and tired and weak, so weak. I could not walk. I could not sustain my own body weight. I tried to stand up and I would just fall. The doctors were just testing me for everything and repeating the test, testing again. And maybe the test was faulty. Try it again. Let's take her to a different doctor. Let's see if it's a specialist can do it. Like 8 months of the doctors multiple times a week, not eating, in pain, rashes, fevers, and no answers. So as much as when I did finally get diagnosed, it was scary, I was so relieved. Because I was like, this has a freaking name. I can curse this name. It wasn't just nothing. It wasn't just my imagination. It wasn't just my body decided it hates me now. It was that I had a real diagnosis. So I was so grateful. Now, after the initial getting diagnosed, then I had to learn everything about, I got to learn everything about lupus and what my body does with lupus, because every time something was happening to me, to this day, when things happen to me, they say, I have at least one doctor say, no, that can't happen. That can't happen. That doesn't happen with lupus. That doesn't. Oh, I've had shingles 3 times. No, people don't get it multiple times. Oh, okay. Well, I know what it feels like now, and I'm pretty sure this is what it is. Oh, no. Go home. You're fine. I would come back a couple days later, and I had shingles on my face. Or like cognitive stuff. The stroke. When I told the nurse, when we were sitting in the hospital, I think I'm stroking out. Am I stroking out? She was like, what? Are you serious? Huh? Like, she did not believe me, because why would I know that? Number one, I never had a stroke before. Why would I be so calm? Because I have been doing this for so long. I've been in this chronic illness game for over 20 years now. And I am gifted the opportunity to learn my body, learn my diagnosis, learn my symptoms that are unique to me, because everybody could talk about lupus does this, lupus does that, but what does it do to you? That is the huge deal. Figure out what it does in your case and keep track of it, so you can tell anybody who asks, this is my symptom, this is how it goes. I usually have this, I usually have that, because everyone will tell you what the book says. You are not a book. You are a body. You're a human being, and you deserve the proper diagnosis, the proper care, the best of the best. But they're not going to give you the best of the best if you don't act like you deserve the best of the best. If it's not you, we're going to depend on our what? Community to stand up for us and tell them what we need to have. Have it written down. Have an emergency list. Know what to look for when a flare-up is coming. I did an episode, was it yesterday, on flare-up warning signs. Like, find out what yours are. Get the proper diagnosis, okay? Now, sometimes the scariest part isn't even the diagnosis. It's not knowing what's happening to your body. Like, even after the diagnosis, now you're still monitoring your symptoms and figuring out what's what, where it goes, how to manage this. That is all terrifying, especially to go through by yourself, which you don't have to. Here you are. But honestly, listen to your body, write it down, seek second, third, fourth opinions. You do not have to believe anyone in a lab coat. Just because they know some things, they don't know you. They've never met you. You are not the same person that walked in yesterday. So get second opinions, track all your symptoms, advocate for testing. If you ask for a test, if you looked something up and said, it sounds like this, and you ask them for a test and they say they don't want to, you have every right in the world to say, can I have that put on record? Put it on record. Record your own doctor's appointments if you want to, because you could always run that back. Because if anything happens to you and they didn't test for that thing, they can be held accountable. But a lot of times, they don't want to test for it because insurance things, or they don't think it's a waste of time, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, ask them to test the testing that you want. And don't ignore things that are consistently happening. Like, you change your medication and then something starts happening and you're like, okay, this is happening. Like, I'm getting this feeling like this. And they say, oh, it's just a change of the medication. Okay. So then we can change our medication again. Or, okay, I want you to write that down in your notes. This is happening to me. There's so many things that you have so much control over that you don't realize, because the doctors unintentionally, I think, have us feeling helpless because they're the ones in the lab coat and they're the ones who know and don't question me, and they get irritated. I don't care. I have a picture that I posted the other day, again, reposted. Well, I'm off to go to the doctor to make some doctors mad, because, like, I will ask all of the questions. This is my only body. I don't have no backup bodies. I'm not a Kardashian. I can't just put a new piece in. Oh, that was me. Was that me? Sorry. But either way, I have no backup body. So this is it. And I'm taking the best care of it that I possibly can, right? So I'm going to close this out. And I'm just going to say, advocacy for yourself matters. Awareness of what your diagnosis is and how it affects you matters. Early detection of everything matters. Like, don't feel like you're a hypochondriac. Like, look it up, go see someone, talk to someone, do something. Do something. There's too many people who pass away because they did not act fast enough. Too many people who pass away because they didn't think it was a big deal, or they didn't want to make waves in the doctor's office. Speak up. Act fast. All the symptoms deserve attention. And ask questions. You're not doing too much. You're not. Actually, let's do too much. Let's do it. I had a picture, and it says to-do list. To do too much. Too much. I don't care. If it's going to keep me alive, if it's going to keep me here on this earth with my family and my friends and the job I love and the people I care about, the beautiful scenery, like, if I get to stay here longer because I caused a ruckus, I'm going to cause the loudest ruckus, okay? Yes. Okay, so, your health journey matters. It deserves all the attention. You deserve the proper diagnosis, and ask about the overlap of things. Just because we're saying our diagnosis matters this month does not mean that I do not have a heart for every chronic illness out there. I understand what you are going through, and you do not have to go through this alone. If you need to talk about something health related, you want to give me a praise report, you want to ask about some kind of, doctor's appointment, you are having a hard day and you just, want to giggle. I'll be making people giggle. I'm a giggly girl, Please reach out, book some time in my calendar. I would love to speak to you. I would love to help you. Community. all day, every day. I love y'all. Have a great day. Oh, it's nighttime. Have a great night. Stay happily healed. Bye.